joined now by Jay Goffman, Partner Global Head of Corporate Restructuring at Skadden Arps. Thank you so much for being here, Jay.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Can you give our audience a little bit of a background into your firm and what specifically you look at?
Sure. Well, I think you know that Skadden is one of the largest firms in the world and probably the most deal-oriented firm. Whether it's mergers and acquisitions or restructuring, we tend to think of everything as a business deal for our clients, and we try to get quick, efficient, economical restructurings done. And that's been our approach, and it's worked very well for our clients.
Jay, I think that probably one of the most well-known deals that your company actually had a big role in was the merger of American Airlines. Can you talk to us about that?
Sure. American was a terrific case. It was unusual. When American filed, there was a lot of questions as to whether or not it would come out on a standalone basis or whether something else would happen. And the company had stated it wanted to come out on a standalone basis. When we went in to meet with the creditors committee, we told them you needed to be more proactive. You needed to think like a debtor would think about it. We told them you needed to think about a potential merger, maybe with US Air. And the fact that it hadn't been done before meant nothing to us. We like doing creative, innovative deals that hadn't been done before. And the key, I think, in that deal was first convincing the parties that a merger might create the most value, and that wasn't that hard. The second part was convincing 9 disparate members of a creditors committee to work together to make it happen. And building that consensus was probably the hardest part, but it's also what we do best.
So that's what you would say would be the biggest hurdle that you face then?
Yes, well, the fact that there'd never been a merger of 2 major airlines in Chapter 11 before. We were doing it from a creditors committee perspective when the debtor had already said it wanted to come out on a standalone basis. And we had a natural split in the creditors committee. We had 3 indenture trustees, 2 trade creditors, 3 unions, and the PBGC. So there was a natural split, and it was certainly possible that the debtor could have split the committee and done whatever it wanted. We had to convince all 9 members to work together as one unit to create the outcome that we ultimately did.
And so since it was such a novel approach and a novel thing that you guys did, how would you say that this would influence M&A transactions going forward overall?
Well, I think what it does, just like when we invented pre-packs 25 years ago, before it's done, everybody says it's impossible, and then once it's done, everybody says, well, of course you can. So you need to break the barrier and get through the first time, and I think now people that represent creditors committees, certainly in major cases, will be more innovative and be bolder, and they'll say anything can be done. We can merge 2 companies while in Chapter 11, and we can do it even if that's not the debtor's first choice. So I think it creates a new floor for major cases to move forward on.
On a personal level, that had to feel great. You know, first of all, knowing that you had this challenge of this merger, and then accomplishing what you did. So how did that feel to you?
It felt great. As a firm, we tend to represent more companies than committees, and that's because we like restructuring businesses. We like achieving big outcomes. We like helping to create businesses that will survive long term. And we knew that when we finished this merger, that it was a group of people all working together to create a great outcome, and it made us very proud of that. It also, I remember when we first started, I remember meeting with the various unions, with the pilots, the flight attendants, and the ground handlers, and what was most important to them was to be part of an airline that came out of a restructuring that they would be proud of, that could succeed for the long term. And they were all concerned that coming out on a standalone basis wouldn't allow that to happen. And I think we've created something great. We've created the world's largest passenger airline. We've paid all creditors back in full. We've created value for the equity. And we've created a company that the people that work there are very proud of. So we feel terrific about it. And it was a real team effort.
You know, Jay, you really bring up a very, very good point. Outsiders might see this as just a dollars and cents issue and a lot of, dealing but really, you bring up the point that you really affected a lot of people's lives.
And that's really what drew me to the area of restructuring in the first place. And it's why I like doing the company side work most of the time. We like saving companies. We like saving jobs. I like knowing that every time I finish a restructuring, that tens of thousands of people can go home and tell their families, I still have a job, I have a career, I have a future. That matters. I think that matters more today than ever before. As the world becomes a smaller place, It's the most important thing about restructuring.
You can tell you really have such a passion for it. It's just amazing.
I do. I enjoyed it. Sometimes you get lucky. I fell into something that I was pretty good at and that I'm very passionate about.
So how do you feel about the rest of 2014 as far as investing in these distressed companies? Do you feel like the outlook is promising?
Sure. I think there's always opportunities to invest in distressed situations. I think you have to be careful about where you look. In the U.S., interest rates are still pretty low, and they're probably going to stay low for the year, so there won't be as many opportunities. Internationally, you'll see an awful lot. It's been very busy in Europe the last 2-3 years. I think there'll be opportunities in Latin America. And I think throughout the year, as the Fed tightens credit a little bit and interest rates start to rise, I think there'll be more opportunities. And with opportunities come opportunities for people that want to invest in these situations to make money. I think it's a win-win. I think if you can save companies, save jobs, and create opportunities for people that want to invest in the industries to make money, I think everybody wins.
Well said. Such a pleasure to have you, and congratulations again on the American Airlines merger.
It's really a pleasure.
Thank you, Jay.